Okay, podcast starts now. What's up, everyone, and welcome to StraightioLab.
We haven't done back-to-back recordings in so long, and I'm feeling energized in a way that is scary because I feel like my confidence is above my skill level, if that makes sense. Like I'm like starting at a sprinting start, and yet I have not decided what I want to say. Not
to be self-deprecating right off the bat, also, but I'm like, podcasting, like, is there even a skill level? You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's not about our skill level, you know? It's like it's just about like our vibe.
Right.
So like there's nothing to be afraid of, mostly.
Okay.
I have a story based on last episode that
what is it?
I want to tell you.
Please.
So we were talking with Jamie Loftus about nobody wants to work these days. Mm-hmm. And we were on such a theme that I didn't want to break away.
Sure.
But I had an audible. If real fans know, I had an audible, oh! And then I was like, no.
Yeah.
This is not your time. Don't tell your story.
By the way, you said there's no skill to podcasting. What you just described is the skill. Knowing when to say what, knowing when to shut up, knowing when to speak up, knowing the natural flow of a conversation, and going into it and doing backstroke, doing breaststroke, doing butterfly even, doing an IM, as we used to call it, where you do all four.
Yes.
And you need to know when you are doing each stroke. And by the way, the listener can't know that, he just switched from breaststroke to backstroke. It needs to be seamless. You need to literally look like you're doing synchronized swimming. And in fact, you're doing a highly choreographed dance.
Sure. No, you're right. Okay. I take it back. Podcasting is one of the most skilled art forms you can have. It's up there. It's certainly above writing.
It is number 2, and the number 1 is playing the organ at a church.
Yeah. And number 3 is painting.
That's right.
And coming in at number 4...
shoe design.
And number 5, architecture. Number 6,
being a mayor.
And number 7, stage acting.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Of course, we're going to stop at 7, as is professional to do.
Yeah, because number 8 is really controversial.
It's true, but it's controversial.
Yeah, it's being a fascist dictator. Okay, so what were you going to say?
So anyway, what I was going to say was I went on a trip recently.
Yes.
It was a road trip even.
Oh, not the gay campground?
Well, I was driving to the gay campground.
Oh, of course. Those two go hand in hand.
Yeah, because you have to bring all your gear.
Well, of course.
And so we were stopping at a fast food restaurant on the way to the gay campground. And we were eating inside of the establishment. And this man came in very, very angry. And he was like holding a drink. And he was like, slammed the drink on the counter and then started spilling it around. And he was like, can I talk to the manager? And the lady's like, yeah, I'm the manager. And he was like, how hard is it to put on a top? How hard is it to put the top on a drink? And just starts yelling at her. And he was like, I spilled this drink all over my car and now I'm spilling it all over your counter. And he was like, I would do so much more to you guys. You're lucky I'm only spilling this on the counter. And then he was like, but you know why I'm not? Because you're all kids. You're all kids and nobody knows how to fucking work. Nobody knows how to work these days. And then one of the teenagers started mocking him, which I thought was so irresponsible because I was like, we are in Pennsylvania. Like,
yeah,
he's
threatening violence.
He's threatening violence. And he was like, why don't you cry about it? Why don't you cry about it? And I was like, oh my God. And it was just Misha and I sitting in there and we were completely silent, of course, because we didn't want to escalate.
Was this man large? And by the way, I don't mean that in a body shaming way. I mean, spiritually, did he have a large spirit?
He had a large spirit. He was intimidating, I would argue. And then he after getting mocked, then he got super mad and then walked out. But as he was walking out, slammed his hands on the door. The entire glass door shattered.
No.
Yes. It shattered, and he storms out and gets in his car and drives away. And the teens follow him to take pictures of the license plate. And I was like, teens, stop.
Wait, but that to me seems like the right thing to do.
Well, they should get the license plate, but don't go outside.
Don't go outside.
I was like, do it from, there's windows in here.
Yeah, but he's already in the car. You think he's going to stop the car, get out, and sort of take their little heads and smash them together?
Honey, he could have. I was scared. And it was sort of a no one wants to work these days taken to like the highest degree.
Yeah.
And it really, in a scary moment, I don't know how you act, but the way I act is pretty embarrassing. Because what I do is absolutely nothing. I literally just like stay still, like, and I'm like, just be quiet and just let it all pass. Like, 'cause I'm like, as soon as someone's like, hey, stop it, like, then I feel like it's like, well, then fuck you too. And so I was like, shh, like, I was just like, everyone shh.
I will say I do have, as you know, I do have the instinct in me to participate in an escalation.
Yes.
Not so much in physical violence yet, but I'm not ruling it out.
Well, keep training.
But But when there is a sort of passive aggressive phone call, a conference call where someone is raising their voice, when someone accuses me of something that I don't necessarily think I'm guilty of, I can get there. I can get to the sort of woman calling customer service saying, I'm just confused. I can get to that tone. Mm-hmm. I need to make sure though that I am not punching down. I need to know that whoever I'm yelling at on their W-2 form, they're making more money than me. If I'm sure of that, I will yell.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure of that, I won't. And I think that is sort of not to use a loaded term, but it's sort of like being an ethical Karen.
Yeah, no, that's really smart.
You have to ask everyone how much they make and only yell at people that make more than you.
I think that's so smart. I think that's really great. I do think.
Having said that, in no world would the teens working at like a drive-through on a road trip ever be making more than me, because of course I'm one of the most successful podcasters in the industry. So it would never occur to me to threaten violence to them or break glass or sort of start listing Republican talking points about how they need to pull themselves up from their bootstraps.
Yeah, it really did. When I leave New York City, sometimes I think I'm unjustly judgmental of, let's say Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, you keep going back to Pennsylvania.
Well, it wasn't Pennsylvania, and it felt very Pennsylvania.
Got it.
There was something about it that felt like everyone is like isolated and everyone's angry, but for no, like they are in Pennsylvania so that their life is easy. And I'm not talking about Philly, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like rural Pennsylvania, and I'm like, your life should be simple. This is what you chose, or
you are being so problematic right now. It's insane.
Am I? Well, I feel like
you need to go home and read Hillbilly Elegy and then come back and have this conversation.
Wow. You think you can be
You need to watch Glenn Close as, what's her name? Little Mama in the Big Mama?
I'm not sure which
Sugar
mama.
She is some kind of mama in that is her name. Mima.
Mama.
I don't know if it's Mima or Mama.
Okay.
But it is a draggier version than Mama.
Okay.
She's not just Mama.
No. It's zhuzhed up.
The point is, in that performance, you sort of get the pain of the white working class in a way that if you try to internalize, then maybe you wouldn't be so rude to people from Pennsylvania.
Well, I just don't know why you would be so ready to fly completely off the handle at complete strangers, and it really felt like everyone there was. Like, it was just like there was a tense energy where I was like, it's a Friday. Can we calm down a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, it's a Friday, you have a car, and you got a soda. Like, let's chill out a bit.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like what you're describing was the default for so many years. It's like a man who, of course, has his own issues that have not been, let's say, worked through in therapy. His therapy is yelling at teenagers. at a drive-through. And I feel like we are surrounded by the polar opposite of that, which is people that have had too much therapy, and their way of dealing with that would have been like to bring in an intimacy coordinator to the drive-through so that they can have like a single conversation with another human being. Yeah. And it is striking to be struck with the old version of doing things.
Yeah. Well, I want to, I guess, formally apologize to everyone in Pennsylvania. I think I understand that you do have struggle despite having peace and quiet at the same time.
Well, it's funny because it's funny.
being
the whole
backhanded
peace and quiet thing is so funny because you're viewing it, which I understand. You're viewing it from the perspective of someone who lives in a city, where you're like, well, to me, a rural area symbolizes peace and quiet because I'm contrasting it to the city.
Yeah.
Whereas to them, it's just like their daily life. Like they don't wake up every day and they're like, wow, I'm like Reese Witherspoon and Wild.
Well, maybe it's time to practice some gratitude. And wake up every day and say, I'm like Reese Witherspoon and Wild.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe then you won't be screaming at teens.
But it's true that no one wants to work these days. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But is it,
Well, no,
judging from me, I certainly don't.
No, I certainly don't want to work these days. No, I do think there's something about, everything that has ever worked is crumbling.
Yeah.
And
Well, there are no institutions
there's no
anymore.
institutions. Every big company has taken over all small business and then is also crumbling inside of itself.
Yeah, and it's like those teens are basically employed by, Time Warner, Walmart.
Yeah.
They are being paid in ketchup packets.
Of course.
So what do you want from them?
No, don't get me wrong. I'm team
Their
teen.
blood sugar is dangerously high from all the ketchup.
I'm team teen. I just am surprised when other people aren't.
Yeah, but then the guy that was there, that broke the door,
Yeah, teach me empathy.
he's been working at the same place his whole life. Do you know who acquired it? Peter Thiel. Do you know what he did as soon as he acquired it? Fired all people in the company.
Period. Replace them with AI.
Robots.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this man is a lifelong Republican voter. He has this conflict in himself. He's like, I'm a lifelong Republican voter because I hate unions. And yet, Republicans are the ones taking my jobs away. The cognitive dissonance of that is so strong that he has to threaten violence to teens. Otherwise, he will collapse.
That's true.
At what point do we have to respect that? As long as he's not actually doing physical violence, at one point do we have to respect that as his way of coping?
Yeah. Can I tell you a sad part of the story too?
Well, so far it's been real happy, so I can't wait to hear this.
Well, there was a part of me that felt bad for him after he broke the glass because I actually think he just meant to slam the door.
Well,
and
of course, he didn't mean to.
And so it was like, oh no, he
I know.
overstepped, and he now he actually looks like a psycho. When
Totally.
Before he was just sort of an angry guy.
Well, there's also I mean, it's so cinematic. It's like doing something like that and then having that moment of like, is this who I have become?
Yeah.
Like I thought I was righteously angry. And it's like you look around and you're like, oh my God, I'm scaring these teens and everyone's looking at me.
I'm
and
destroying property.
I'm destroying property, which is more valuable than human life to someone like him.
It's true.
Based on his political views that I'm projecting onto him.
Of course. Well, I do want to wrap up our intro because I feel like it's actually gone kind of long. And I do want to say also, for some reason now I feel bad.
No, I'm jokingly, I'm like, I knew you would feel bad, and I knew it. I knew literally the second I took it too far. I was like, "Oh, he's gonna feel bad." I was jokingly poking fun at your story.
Okay.
I was not like seriously trying to make you feel bad.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it's powerful.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay. We'll also bleep various parts of that story so that you come out even better.
Thank God. And I think we should bring in our guest.
Yes, I think it's
will have
absolutely
such
time.
a powerful perspective on this issue.
Yeah, well, they asked us to bring that story up because they were like, I have something to say about it.
Libel.
They were like, all right, like I guess we'll make up a story.
Yeah, I was like, I
about
guess we'll make up
Trevor.
some story about where I come off like really big city and whatever. Please welcome to the podcast, Peter Smith.
Hello, boys.
Wow, what an intro.
Hello, listeners.
So, Peter, I have a question for you. Like, sort of, what is your response to that story? My response, Sam's counter response.
It was gorgeous to watch you both make amends at the end of it. My response is that the displaced rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That a cup off the lid being, and then that being the thing that triggers this man. That I feel, I worry for what's going on in his life. But also, having a car and a soft drink as a Midwesterner.
Sure.
That is the most comfortable place in the world. That's my gender, ultimately. It's like driving with a big Diet Coke
soft drink.
Yeah.
and just cruising through the strip malls like that.
Yeah. And
that
so
to me
when
is
that
happy.
is punctured, when you are in your safe zone and suddenly you spill the Diet Coke you're saying because you're in such a place of ecstasy that can make someone go violent because it is the one moment they had to themselves that day.
Yeah, and like this is apparently his only opportunity to get back on whatever injustice is occurring to him.
Yeah.
And that's pathetic, ultimately. You know?
Yeah.
That's somebody in need of some therapy or maybe a different menu order. You know, maybe what he's been getting is not making him, the dopamine isn't really working anymore.
You're saying the issue is with his order rather than with what happened.
Yeah, the demands are wrong.
Perhaps we're...
misplaced demands.
Yeah, we're looking at potentially a 7-Up or a Mountain Dew, something that could
Mountain Dew.
alter his brain chemistry in a different, more beneficial way. Yes.
Mountain Dew is a spermicide.
Well, and no one's talking about that.
Well, maybe
they did when we were, you know, maybe like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, spermicide. You know, what a way to battle toxic masculinity. Get
Yeah,
them all
baby.
hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Sizzle it.
No more sperm.
Sizzle it with that yellow stuff. Yeah.
Yum.
That's what I'm here for.
Wow.
Huh.
In the iHeartRadio studios. iHeartRadio. Boop, 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 boop. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
so
what's your
wonderful to
perceptions
have
of the
you.
space?
Yeah.
The elevators are gay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now serving 10th floor. I walked in and I went, oh, yes, you are.
And then as you're walking out of the elevator, it's like, okay, mama, strut.
It's like, go off.
I mean, there literally is a runway from the elevator to the reception
Truly.
desk.
Truly. Which I was frozen by. I walked off and said, impressive entrance. And so I didn't move. And then also the lights are motion activated. So I took a couple pictures.
Yes, you got it.
Oh, wow.
Because I said, this is a stunning entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love an entrance. And then I moved. And I don't really know what happened. It was like different radio stations played while I was walking.
Yeah.
And it was impressive.
It's funny, we've tried to explain it on air before. We can try again. I mean, it's sort of like, it is a motion-activated walkway where every step you take, you hear a different audio cue, sort of.
Yeah,
Like a different station, I think.
Yes, a different station, you know, to signify the concept of iHeartRadio.
Yeah, the radio. Also,
The radio.
as a Midwesterner, hearing channels switch like
Yeah.
that, I was really calmed by.
I do think if it was up to us, potentially we could do just one audio track of RuPaul saying, "Cover girl, put some bass in your walk."
Exactly.
That would actually be really helpful.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
fun.
Is she here? Let's give her the tip.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, look at the space. This is what our house looks like in that.
I did watch that.
Yeah. Okay, here's my question for you as someone who recently took a photograph in an Instagram bait space. You know, a space
The hallway.
The hallway.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it's like a
said, what
space
was
that
the
is
last-
begging to be Instagram.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When you are in a space that is literally made to be photographed,
Shared.
is it sort of chic or cooler to pretend you don't notice it and scoff at people who photograph it? Or is that a lost cause and we all have to just be like, you know what? We respect the workers that built this, you know, Yayoi Kusama Infinity Room, and therefore I shall take a selfie inside of it.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is iHeartRadio, and I'm in show business. And they've built this entrance to sort of make a statement when you walk off the elevator. You're here right now. So, yeah, I'm going to take a picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have any shame in that.
Yeah.
I think like a step and repeat that, you know, might be for brands that aren't necessarily, you know, Blackstone or some of these major corporations where like you want to be photographed with,
Right.
you know,
Right.
warmongers.
Of course.
Yeah, I have no shame in that.
In supporting a small business, Kettle Chips.
Exactly.
Sabra.
Sabra.
You know, Peter, one thing I think you do, I think you have a good head on your shoulders around the fact that you are in show business.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I like to pretend I'm not,
Uh-huh.
and that I'm not even thinking about it. And I'm sort of like, yeah, like it just happens. Like I just happen to be on stage. I just happen to be pursuing this thing. I just happen to be here. And I think you going in knowingly is like something I can learn from.
You know, there's no reason to be blasé about really anything.
Well, you're talking to the
Couple of
Blasé
blasé boys here. It's the Blasé brothers. Yeah, you know, show business, you gotta be, I think, you know, you're aware. We were just talking about RuPaul.
Yeah.
You know, I
Classic
think
show
that's
business.
a hyper,
Participant.
you know, love the woman, but that's a hyper participant.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But yeah, I think ultimately, I think all of America is in show business, and thus,
and now we said it.
Now, yeah.
So I'm just mostly aware of that.
Do you think that maybe then the issue is not whether someone is or is not in show business, but it's like the level of awareness one has about being in show business? It's like, okay, everyone in America is in show business, and what is the healthiest level of awareness to have about that?
Yeah. I don't know, because if you have social media, you ultimately have a channel for yourself.
Right.
No matter if you want to play coy and, post things that are
a dead rat.
Yeah, or whatever, you're still making images for people to consume, with a media company helping you do that.
Yes.
So yeah, that takes the fun out of it, and something I'm known to do is kind of suck the fun out of certain things.
Well, sometimes you have to, as a form of resistance.
Yeah.
Because sometimes fun feels compulsory.
Yeah.
And you're saying, well, what if I don't want to have the signature cocktail at this brand activation? Maybe that can be a way to resist.
What if I don't want the cucumber Bombay? Maybe you have to bleep out the alcohol brand, but
No.
I can say more. Yeah.
You know what they should have? I just thought of the most incredible capitalist idea. You know how
gimme
Yay,
yum, 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 yum,
yay.
yum.
Okay, you know how there are sponsors? There should be anti-sponsors where, for instance, Coca-Cola pays you to talk shit about Pepsi.
Oh, that's a
I
good
think
idea.
that happens though.
Do you?
With Coke and Pepsi, I firmly believe that there's
Isn't there some law against that where it's like...
there's a lot of laws.
There's a lot of
Oh,
laws.
don't even get me started on the law.
Yeah.
Haven't followed
Blase
one. Haven't
boys.
followed one yet.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, but because I think, it's funny, I would be so much more comfortable being paid to shit on a brand than being paid to promote one. And I actually think we could make a lot of money on this podcast that way.
Oh, yeah.
But
we could mock anything.
Yes, but I think brands are saving money
Yeah.
by making people mock it on the internet for free advertising.
Oh, that's a very
Bud
good
Light,
point.
for example.
That's a good point. Yeah, because
Oh,
mocking
you're
is
totally right.
mocking is the
Concocting
thing.
this,
Yes.
something for then
Mocking is the
free
thing you do
advertising.
naturally. Okay, this actually points to an even darker sort of thing, which is
Let's go there.
positivity is the thing you pay for. It's like you are
In what way?
because let's say a brand wants to be
LGBTQ?
LGBTQ. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's say a brand wants to pay an LGBTQ influencer to promote the brand. They are paying for positivity around that brand. But as you said, no one has to pay for negativity because there's so much of it out there. Now, here's a situation that creates. It creates a situation where so much positivity is artificial, it is paid for, and it is not authentic, whereas negativity, mostly speaking, is authentic. Then, in turn, that creates an environment where positivity is always something to be suspicious of because there is so much artificial positivity. And that's why people flock to negativity even more, creating this vicious cycle of inauthentic positivity and authentic negativity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I have no thoughts.
I
That's
think
just true.
That's
It's
a genius statement. And yeah, should we
Speechless.
wrap up?
Yeah, thanks so much, boys.
Yeah, this has been StraightioLab. Check us out on iHeart, wherever you get your iHeart podcasts.
With an ice cold glass of Pepsi.
Yeah, or Bud Light.
Or Bud Light.
Or Bud Light.
Bud Pepsi.
Oh, they should make that.
Ooh, no, they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't.
I'm trying to imagine it. No, it's not. It wouldn't be good.
What is your ideal beverage?
You're staring, for the listeners at home, George is staring straight into my eyes and asked that question. My ideal beverage, I like, there's this, I don't know if this is ideal, but right now this is what's coming to my brain. There's a alcohol called Pernod,
Okay.
which is like a fennelly anise bitter.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not ouzo, but it has
I was about to
a
say.
little bit of that.
Yeah.
And when you mix it with water, it's like this bright green. And then when you mix it with water, it becomes this kind of cloudy.
That's like ouzo,
pretty
yeah,
color. Yeah. So the fact that it kind of is magical, and also I like the taste of
Licorice.
black licorice
anise,
flavor.
Yeah.
with a little ice, the sun shining. Oh my God.
Oh, I love that.
That is a
Someone's-
beverage.
Someone's been summer pilled.
Or a giant Diet Coke from any fast food restaurant.
That's
But
the
mostly
thing.
McDonald's. I like their concoction,
yeah.
their chemistry the best.
I think it's like gun to my head. A Diet Coke specifically in the cup holder of a movie theater seat.
Site specific.
That's the ideal. Yeah, it has to be
Well,
site
context is
specific.
everything.
Context is everything. And actually, that's something we forget as a society. And that's why there's a crisis of negativity and inauthentic positivity.
Well, the context is stripped of the internet, as we all know. And
Exactly.
So it leads to absolute chaos.
I mean, context collapse is literally the number one issue facing our nation. And literally, Joe Biden refuses to talk about it.
wake up, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
Take your Adderall, baby. Dr. Jill, pop in those Adderalls into his
If
mouth.
I was on the drug cocktail that Joe Biden is on, I would die.
Well, yeah.
Well, but you'd also finish
That's
that novel.
That's because you're alive. That's because you're alive.
That's right. It would have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
For him, it brings him to life,
Yes.
evanescence, and for me, it kills me.
Yeah.
Wow. Should we do our first segment?
Okay.
Why not? Yeah. Because I actually have something regarding, with podcasting being a skill again, I have something regarding Diet Coke and our topic that I want to get to later.
Ooh, okay, great.
Okay, Peter, our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in this segment we ask you a series of rapid-fire questions to gauge your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture. It's basically this thing or this other thing, and the only rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions or we will be so furious you will not hear the end of it. I swear.
Got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
George, want to kick us off?
I would love to. Peter, being blurbed by Zadie Smith or using the whole lemon, even the pith?
Using the whole lemon, even the pith.
Wow. Peter, T-Mobile or G-Unit?
G-Unit.
Wearing white pants after Labor Day or wearing no shirt under your blazer, but it's not a sleigh?
White pants after Labor Day.
Let him cook or let them eat cake?
Let them eat cake.
Aw, that's cute. Or, oh, I'm Cher.
Oh, I'm Cher.
Wow. Cured meats or impure thoughts?
Impure thoughts.
Ooh.
Being arrested for listening to Limp Bizkit or being hospitalized for being too limp-wristed?
Being hospitalized for being too limp-wristed.
Okay. Every rose has its thorn or Christ the Savior is born?
Those are sort of synonyms, but Christ the Savior is born.
Wow. Can I say something controversial?
Please.
1,000 doves.
I fully agree.
So we rank everyone from 0 to 1,000 doves. I was literally going to say, you were floating. You were floating in the 900 to 1,000 range, but here's what really did it for me.
Please.
So we have confident answer for each one.
Yeah.
We're moving along. Peter decides for the last one, they're going to make a little joke.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is a joke? Or meaning both being synonyms?
Being synonyms. Right?
Is that a
Yeah,
joke, or is
exactly.
that just a
No,
joke?
but a little commentary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No
like
questions.
after you are no questions, of course. After you are you're answering each one confidently, and then with the last one. And by the way, you didn't even know it was the last one, but you suspected this is one where I want to.
Well, you have such a sense of arc.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear it in your voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
I
and
listen to the pod. I know your flow.
Oh.
You know?
Well, and I was thinking even like, that segment, of course, is performance based. It's not about right or wrong. It's about what your feelings are. And I think what you nailed was giving us actually a beautiful tone to your voice that I feel like, these comedians that come on here. And I was like, thank you for understanding this segment is a song.
Right.
And it needs to be treated with respect.
It's an aria.
Yeah.
You put time into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
Yeah. 15 minutes.
Yeah. You didn't have to say.
You do 15 minutes too?
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, just give me 15.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
imagining it's your sort of morning pages. Like you wake up and you're like, Tupperware or
Yeah, exactly.
where Tupper, something like that.
Or Jesse Ware.
It is actually.
Thank you.
Ooh,
See, this is
wow.
why it's
See,
your
that's a
job
pro.
and
Oh, Tupperware. Write that down. Tupperware.
We
Jesse
might have
Ware.
done that one before,
Oh,
but I'm
okay,
not
cool.
sure.
Well, you'll
It's
never
hard
know.
to tell.
Outfit repeat.
Wow. I mean, it is true that it's a good way to get the creative juices flowing. Maybe that's my book, is teaching everyone how to do straight shooters as a way to be creative.
I'm going to be honest, it doesn't sound like a book, but it does sound...
Have you seen some of the books out there?
It does sound like sort of a speaking lecture series.
Oh, even more lucrative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I think then you don't even have to write the book.
Zoom
you just
link.
show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoom link. You don't have to have it in person.
Yeah.
If you were employed as a...
If I just end there, if I was, what would happen?
If you were employed as a sort of speaker at corporate events, what do you think your vibe would be? What story would you tell to inspire the middle-level managers at a Morgan Stanley?
Wow. I would tell the story of Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, that's really good.
I would tell like a personal story. Anything.
Like, I mean, what I'm thinking is like, how would you use your expertise to inspire them to continue their work?
Yeah. You know what I would do?
What?
I would say, as someone who grew up between two cultures, I've always been an outsider. In America, I feel like I'm Greek. In Greece, I feel like I'm American. You think that is a handicap? It's your superpower.
It's always the superpower. Any handicap is always going to be your superpower.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably just go up. I'd make them all get in a line, single file. And I'd probably look them dead in the eyes and I would say, money's not real.
Ooh.
What you do is fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's where we meet, in this space of fantasy and illusion.
Wow. That's actually kind of powerful.
That could be so powerful that A, you would never be invited back.
Exactly.
And B, a violent...
Been there once, burn it down.
A violent... I'm thinking Ridley Scott's The Last Duel. A sort of violent, sword-based fight would happen.
Oh.
I think that the clipboard woman that brought you in would actually get you home safely, but someone else would die.
But yeah, she'd be like, that was really cool. Our speakers aren't normally like that. We had, I wouldn't even know who came in last week, but yeah.
And then
I shouldn't even be saying this, but thanks for speaking up.
That was awesome. I think that way too.
Yeah, and then
there's a laser pointer on her. Like, the elevator door closed and I see a laser on her chest. She's like, goodbye.
She's like, by the way, come to my improv show.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. I'm trying to think what my inspirational talk would be. Oh, you know what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine would actually be inspired by the Pennsylvania story. And I think it would be,
just shut down, not saying anything.
And I think I would be sort of like I think it's important that you said they're comparing, or I keep comparing them to me and saying I say you should be grateful for the silence,
centering
that you have.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that would be sort of my lesson to teach.
So empathy
and not even that, but think about what you have that someone else would value that you don't value because you see it every day.
Whoa.
Every day I wake up and I say, thank God I have a coffee shop right there. Thank God my apartment is so small and all the apartments are so small so that I can walk around this damn city. Yeah. Thank God I don't need to fix up a car and to drive around and I can just sort of stroll. And yes, I get yelled at on the street, but it's better than getting yelled at in a Wendy's.
Amen.
Wow. I do think we sort of describe the three possible types of corporate speakers one can be. It's like human-centered empathy with Sam's take. With my take, it's more just like anything you do, immediately commercialize. Immediately make it into a product. It's like your identity, that's a product.
Yeah.
And then with Peter, it's the more sort of radical approach where it's the person getting up and ripping up their piece of paper that they have prepared. And they're like, you know what? Actually, I do have something to say.
It's kind of always the end of the film, or the climax of the film.
Yeah, credits roll when I leave Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, well, it's difficult for you. Every time you enter a room, credits start to roll because you have
and I sing the final song.
Yeah, you have so much gravitas that people are like, well, this must be the final scene.
Yeah. And then I take the mic and I sing, 1,000 Doves.
1,000 Doves.
Sam Instagrammed the 1,000 Doves remix when it came out years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I haven't listened to this. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And every time I play it, I'm like, thank God for Sam.
Wow, that actually makes me feel so good because I was also so moved by that song. It is
moving.
so good.
The original on the Chromatica,
of course,
whatever. I don't care for.
Doesn't speak to me.
Skip it.
One of my least favorites.
Yeah. On the remix, the only one I listened to from that album.
So iconic.
Yeah.
The little synth solo, are you kidding me? It's so LOL.
It's so LOL.
Pew, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew, 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 pew.
And yet no one wants to listen to Sign from Above. After all these years, the one Literally, and I have been alone in this fight for years. I keep expecting it is so perfectly calibrated to be a sort of camp hit, and yet no one's biting. No one is biting.
Because her lyrics are already sort of Mad Libs. Right?
Sure.
It's like mental health, queer, cars and leather, you know, downtown.
New York.
Cars and leather.
New York.
Mental health, queer, cars and leather, downtown.
That's her.
Yeah.
So Sign from Above was this like, what is this, math metaphor?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like, it's like she's clearly talking about something else, like some sort of parabola. I don't know, but it just doesn't work.
It's so, it's crazy because it really, guess what? There's a pot for every lid, and Lady Gaga and me found her pot. Lady Gaga and Elton John found their pot finally.
Wow.
Right. It was that's them too on it.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is like Lady Gaga's going off. She's screaming. She's losing her voice.
Always.
You're like, all right, fine. And that's over. Then the song continues. And Elton John comes in truly like on the Joe Biden drug cocktail. He is like flying on cloud 9. When I was young.
No, his voice is so funny on that song.
It's so funny. And yet no one even thinks it's fun. No one talks about it. It's like, how can you put out something so legitimately insane into the world and have it make no impact? It really, I mean.
No, you're completely right.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
fully convinced this is the best argument I've ever heard. Justice for Sign from Above.
But it's like someone is, there's dark money there that is suppressing it.
Yeah, they paid negative influencers to shit talk it and get it to disappear.
Oh my God, it's that negativity we're talking about. Someone finally found a way to make it lucrative.
To me, it's like that song was like, everyone's like, do we keep it? Do we not get rid of it? It's like, you know what we can do to keep it is put Elton John on it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes something. Because
Yeah.
it's really not anything. I couldn't even tell you the tune.
I actually can't think of how it goes.
When I was young,
It's
I
always
prayed
that.
for lightning.
That's
And I know, nothing there.
Oh,
Nothing.
sure.
Elton John.
Elton John.
You know, that goes
Oh.
on the topic.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I don't care for this song.
Yeah, I'm hired to write a jukebox musical about Lady Gaga, and the opening track is Sign from Above.
Yes. And the title.
And the title, yeah.
Like take that as the improv inspiration.
my
I mean, there's
God.
definitely, she kind of wanted that to be the title of the album.
I'm telling you,
She thought that was like the main
I
thing.
genuinely feel more connected to her because I'm like, only you and I understand this.
Yeah.
All right, enough about me. Peter,
Hmm.
I would like to get into the topic.
Love it.
I would love that as well.
Let's go there.
Would you like to tell us what topic you brought forth, and potentially even a few words about what to you makes it straight?
Okay, folks. My topic for today is the food, the wrap. I gave a little plosive to that. Wrap.
That's the Shakespeare training.
That's diction. A few words about it. Why I think
course.
it's straight.
Mm-hmm.
I think straightness is a lie.
Right.
And I think wraps are ultimately a lie. And that there's a lot of branding and marketing around the topic that ultimately it's a sandwich or ultimately it's a burrito.
Right.
The word itself is an American invention,
Of course.
to erase any kind of flatbread culture anywhere.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I just think they're lies. I will say this right off the bat. I had and made one yesterday, and it was delicious.
I'm sure.
It's still, I felt straight eating it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something about this. I think there's a health.
There's a
thing
health element.
attached to it, but
Yeah.
that's also a lie.
Well, yes, of course, because
It's like three pieces of
You're
bread
absolutely
smooshed
right.
into one giant piece of bread.
I like the central theme being dishonesty. It's like
It's
the
dishonest.
health part is a lie. The idea that it's a new thing is a lie.
Yeah. It's a way to still make sandwiches, but give variety with the least amount of, storage space
Totally.
possible, because it's just this flat thing that then you can make 12 wraps out of.
The
but
idea
with
that
same
you
ingredients.
would even call something a wrap, that's such a function forward name for something. I mean,
Yeah.
think of how beautiful a word burrito is, or even sandwich, which is an American word. Pretty beautiful word.
I love the American language.
Yeah. Quesadilla.
See,
Souvlaki.
there we go.
Oh,
Wrap?
Wrap.
rap.
Rap?
Wrap. And not a wrap, like, again, you said Shakespeare training. I love a cashmere wrap over my shoulders.
Well, of course. That's not a lie.
I love a wrap skirt.
Yeah.
Fabric just draped around. Heaven.
Yes, Diane von Furstenberg.
Yeah, not straight at all. The food, where it's named after like the physicality of it, that I don't.
Well, because it's also like, guess what? If you're relying on describing something based on like how it's made rather than the actual taste of it, it's like, well, it's food.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't be focusing on how it's like shaped.
Well, I have to say, our listeners are very critical people. And they are so smart and getting smarter every day.
Yeah.
Some of them I feel would be saying, isn't a wrap just a sandwich that's been queered?
Whoa.
See, I think the straight part of it is like ultimately sandwich has an honesty to it. And like at our core level, we're all queer.
A wrap is a sandwich that is closeted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not living its authentic self.
Or it's a sandwich that has been queered, but the person doing the queering is that gay bachelor.
Yeah.
Like the person doing the queering is not,
Well, like you watch drag, you're watching All Stars. Like Mrs. Kasha Davis, at lunch, it's like, I'm just going to have the wrap. I'm just going to get some of the salad and then just the wrap, thinking it's kind of a lighter, spelled Lite.
of course.
Fare.
Yeah.
And to me, there's something shameful about,
of course.
like, oh, I have to eat this in order to be. It's a backwards shame.
You know who's never had a wrap? Heidi and Closet.
That's for sure.
Okay, I get it. It's also a wrap is to fit into sort of a patriarchal body standard. It's to sort of
Weight Watchers.
imply your like gender role. Like, I want to be looking like this. I need to be like this.
Yeah.
Whereas a sandwich is like live and let live.
Yeah.
Well, it's also female coded. It's like a
Definitely.
wrap is a girl sandwich.
Yeah.
And then you have like buffalo chicken wraps,
Yeah.
which then it's like, okay, just give everybody health care. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Let's just
Give everybody healthcare and just get popcorn chicken.
Or I think there's conflict with what you're saying about it being gendered.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In that, like, it's true,
Yeah.
but then now we're at this post place
Yes,
where
yes.
the wrap needs to be barbecue chicken, which doesn't necessarily have to have a gender, but that is being marketed to, big boys.
Yeah.
Who are like, you can eat barbecue chicken, but you can't have that on a sandwich.
Right.
It needs to be not a burrito, but ultimately it is a burrito.
Yeah.
Like a breakfast burrito. No one's getting a breakfast wrap.
So it's gendered in the sense that it's like
Eating disorder.
Yeah.
But now most men have eating disorders too. So it's
Exactly.
still a straight man or
Yeah.
woman.
But the fact that it was created as a act of gendering sort of infiltrates the entire environment with violence. It's like a rap is meant to be female, and yet everything that is done to it makes it less and less of a clearly defined gender, and the violence of that spills out into the entire culinary industry.
And most wraps I've had ultimately spill.
Yes.
Like at the end, it's going to be a mess in your hands.
Okay, that's actually a really good point.
Where a
The
sandwich,
promise
like,
doesn't come true.
It doesn't come. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no.
Because the promise of the wrap on a just sort of literal level is like, well, it sounds like it would be clean because it is wrapped. Whereas a sandwich, it's leaking from every which way.
Sure.
But if anything, at the end, the wrap is the biggest disappointment of all.
Which is
Because it's going to
straightness.
like splurge out where you least expect it.
Yeah.
Like the man in whatever fast food you were at.
It was a Wendy's.
The tension is going to come out.
Yeah.
The closet, you will at some point, the closet will leak.
No, you're totally right. Sidebar, I have a riff. It's a riff alert.
Riff alert.
Riff alert. So imagine if the man came in and was yelling at the employees and then slammed the door and the glass shattered and I said, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
Wow,
If
you
it
really
was.
lived the "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
Yeah.
I've never lived with "Sir, this is
Yeah.
a Wendy's." Wow.
Now you have.
Now I have.
You've put that on your body.
It's so lived in. When I say it now, it'll feel so different than whenever anyone else says it.
Yeah, it's yours.
It's mine.
The body keeps the score.
Body.
Including when you're eating a wrap.
Yeah, calories count.
So okay. A wrap also is like, you know, when there's like fake stuff to do for the environment. Like sometimes I feel like
paper
almost
straws.
recycling. Like I'm
Yes.
like, where like we all know that it's fake and they don't do it right
In New York especially.
In New York especially, and I would love if they did. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like we perform recycling and then they all put it in the same place. That's almost what a wrap is. It's like performing health conscious when really it's the same.
Yeah,
and
the
fine.
stomach is like, this is still flour, water, and some stuff that was in a sandwich.
Well, it's also like there's a sort of literalness of like the bread is thin, so you'll be thin. Like it's so fucking stupid. And then people just buy it. They're like, oh well, it's thin. It's so thin. This bread could not be more thinner. They've pressed it down. It's so thin.
Yeah. Is that what a wrap is? Is it just bread?
But I mean,
out?
bread
wrap
in the
is a
sense that
tortilla.
it's
A
a tortilla.
wrap is
Is
a
a
tortilla.
tortilla.
Yeah.
That now has been called a wrap.
But it's bread in the sense that it is glutinous. You know, it's
Sure,
it's
sure,
the
sure.
Flour
thing.
tortilla.
It's the thing that is it's the thing that is enveloping the ingredients. So in this, if it's a sandwich, it's the bread.
You know what I find with wraps? It never tastes like, I don't think the flavors don't go well together. I feel like it never feels like a complete piece. It always feels artificial to me when I'm eating it. In a sandwich, I'm like, this feels complete. But a wrap, I'm always like, no. Like, and when I have a burrito, yes, this clicks for me. But a wrap, I'm always like, this is not clicking.
You're
Well,
like,
do you
this
want to
is
know
missing
why?
Something.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with wraps, and it's one of the central lies is like you think of a wrap as like, especially if you're trying to be health conscious, oh, it's fresh, oh, it has like crunchy lettuce in it, whatever. Guess what is at the crux of the wrap's success from a business perspective? That's right, that it can be made ahead of time and put in a little vitrine.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a grilled cheese. You can't just make a bunch of grilled cheeses and put them on in a vitrine. But a wrap, you can just make like 47 wraps in the morning and they'll just be there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you bite into it, in contrast to literally any other sandwich, you are biting into week-old ingredients.
It is.
Wow. That actually does speak to also the efficiency of a wrap.
Exactly.
Which, as we know, is peak capitalist.
Yeah.
It's also like, even like, now that I'm seeing the wrap being eaten, I'm seeing a woman rushing to the office.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she's like, I can eat this while I run.
Yeah, she's in peril. There's so many forces working against her. And she's like, well, maybe if I eat this skinny food, I will. But and then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't even have to do with the physical body. It doesn't have to do with like being on a diet or body dysmorphia. It just has to do with control, like spiritual control. It's like you can't be in control if you're eating bread, but you can be in control if you're eating a green
Thin
spinach-coated
green bread.
tortilla.
Yeah.
Spinach coated. Well, love that.
Yeah, and like the spinach
Yeah.
wraps is like such
What-
a lie.
When you
But they're green.
Yeah.
so it's
They're
like,
green.
oh,
when
there's
you get to
added
the
pretty much
fiber.
vegetable.
when you get to the point of dyeing bread green to feel safe, you need to return to religion.
Well, okay.
You need to go on a wild style hike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how much you talk about Wild. by the way.
Well, you know what
Every
I think.
episode I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's like Reese Witherspoon and Wild can come into this conversation.
Do you know what I think actually?
Which I appreciate.
First of all, thank you.
Thank you.
It really is unclear how many people appreciate it, but I'm glad that we know at least one on the record. I will say one more thing about the movie Wild. I think there should be a sort of birthright-style trip for high-strung women and gay men where they get to do Wild to sort of regroup.
Is it the Appalachian Trail?
It's the Pacific Crest Trail.
Okay, yeah. I know. Yeah, my brother has hiked that. And
Really?
So I know. He's like, now everyone's on this trail because Reese Witherspoon did it, and now it's all overrun and they're stomping the vegetation. So Reese
Wow.
ultimately caused some deforestation.
Oh.
But capital B. I'm so glad she brings you so much joy,
Yeah.
and that performance does.
It's a
Oh,
great
of course.
performance.
Do you think you would ever do Wild? Hike?
Hike without cameras? No cameras or cameras?
Well, you could have a
that's
journal.
Yeah. Okay.
With like that becoming IP for
A film.
Right.
A film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I
Yeah.
would. if there was,
You would do it
if
only
there was
if
a package that was
only if
presented
it-
to me where it's like, you go on this hike,
Okay.
you're gonna get a streaming film.
a streaming film.
I'm not
streaming
gonna say
film.
where.
You don't need a theatrical release.
No,
That's
Oh,
very
interesting.
humble of
I
you.
want people in their homes.
Not eligible for the Academy Awards.
No. I don't need that. Academy Awards. You know the secret of the Academy Awards?
No. What's the secret?
Anti-union.
Well, of
What?
course.
How so?
It was created literally
To distract from. It was like, what's his name? Louis B. Mayer was like, I want you guys, you lot boys, to build my house in Malibu. And they're like, we're not doing that. We only make sets for you, and you can't use our labor like wherever you want. We have a union. And then he was like, what's a union? And then he found out, and he was like, I hate that. And he was like, I hope the actors don't do that. And he was like, so in order for the actors not to do that, I'm going to invent this like academy secret special club so that actors don't get in, that they are aspirational, want, to be acknowledged. One thing an actor wants is for anyone to like say, good job. So created that club in order for actors to not make their own club that would then give them any rights or power or whatever. So that's the Academy Awards.
Wow.
Its base function, origin story is that.
Yeah.
For the
And on
folks at
top
home.
of that, Isabella Huppert was robbed.
Every time. Every time. What was she around for? What was it?
L.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the only nomination she
Who
had.
won in that year?
I literally think Emma Stone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had something I wanted to bring up. Both of you expressed being Diet Coke stans. And in my mind, a Diet Coke is a close sibling to the rap.
Yes.
I feel the woman that's running to the business meeting has the rap in one hand and the Diet Coke in the other.
If it's 1998. No
Well,
longer.
in my mind, it's always 1998.
Okay. And you're right. And you're right. And you're right.
Yeah.
And I guess I just want to know how you square with that emotionally.
Loaded.
Things are messy. Femininity is not a monolith. Eating disorders are not a monolith.
True.
So to that I say, I think honestly my deal with Diet Coke is like, I know how unhealthy it is. It really isn't a health. There's a lack of health consciousness. If anything, it's like throwing my body and any cell that might turn to cancer to the wind.
Yeah.
I don't drink it like, well, this isn't going to make me, any larger than any of that, phobic. I drink it like, this is delicious. It's battery acid.
Yeah.
And gives me a little pep.
Sure.
Even though at this point in my life, the pep is kind of smoothed over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't equate the two. I can see how they would be equated, yes. But that mentality and psychology of the woman getting the Diet Coke and the rap is not this woman pointing at myself.
Yeah.
My psychology.
I do think that the difference between 90s and 2023 is actually relevant here, because I think in the 90s they were related. It's like you get a wrap, you get a salad with dressing on the side, Cobb salad, no bacon, you get a Diet Coke, okay, you go about your day. Now, it actually has become accepted that Diet Coke is poison.
Yeah.
So the equivalent of that now would be like a kombucha. It would be like the new fake thing. It would be like a natural ginger ale with pulp. It's like the new fake healthy thing would be something different that you would pair with a wrap. A Diet Coke, if anything, has been like reclaimed by the unhealthy identified as a treat.
Interesting.
Myself included. Like Lisa Rinna getting iced tea all the time.
Oh, yeah, iced tea.
Sure.
I'll just have an iced tea. It's always the just.
Yes.
Mrs. Concha Davis, I'll just have the wrap. Lisa Rinna, I'll just have an iced tea.
The just.
It's like, I'm not consuming anything. I'm just going to have this thing and pretend like I'm consuming something.
That is so genius.
That is the group of food that we are talking about. It's just foods.
I'm just going to have
And in fact,
the
isn't there
popcorners.
some brand called Just?
Just.
If not, there should be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make it happen today.
This is a huge
It's the just.
revelation. It's the just. And I honestly think it could even be applied to other things.
I do it with my coffee order. Like I'm very like I'll just have a black coffee.
Yeah.
Like I'll just have a
I'm
hot,
so
just
easy.
a hot coffee.
I'm so simple. I do not stir any pot. I don't. It's so easy for you. Aren't I making your life easier?
Yeah.
By trying to be skinny and simple.
Yeah.
And of course, in that statement, in saying just, you are basically expressing judgment for everyone else who has come before you and after you. You're like, well, I'm
Exactly.
not like these
Yes,
fucking
George.
freaks.
Yep.
Well, it's very like, in an essay putting like obviously blank, where it's like, no, you have to make the argument to show why it's obvious.
Yeah.
You can't say obviously.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't say just, you should just be easy.
And the just does, George is a great point. It makes others
Yeah.
have bad behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you do not.
Do you know what's interesting? Sometimes people will use the just, but actually be difficult. And I'll give you an example.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Wielding that. of
Here's an
course.
example. Ordering off menu something that you think is simple. Let's say you want a single slice of tomato cut into quarters with a little olive oil. That sounds simple because it's something that you can make very simply. But you're at a restaurant, that's not on the menu. You'll say to the waiter, "Oh, I'll just have one slice of tomato cut into quarters with some olive oil."
Mm-hmm. Can I just have you have tomatoes? Can I just like a tomato with olive oil and maybe some like salt and actually no salt, just olive oil.
You're at
just
that point inventing a new menu item, a special only for one table, your own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how are they going to price
And
it?
you are
Exactly. It's
how
not
are
in
they
the-
going to
it's not
price
in the
it?
system.
Whose job is that? And you are doing all of that while gaslighting the service worker into thinking that you are in fact being not difficult. That you are not only are you not being difficult, you are being easier than the average person who would order, the salmon.
Yeah. Anything that the chef has prepared.
It's very sinister.
Wow. Weaponizing just, but there's also it's hard to order off menu in general without weaponizing it, because it's also, you can weaponize like, I'm sorry I'm being so difficult, but I'll have like, you can also weaponize self-awareness in a way where I'm like, well, that's not making it any easier. You're just like aware that you're being an asshole.
I'm so guilty of that.
Oh,
It's really bad. And you can hear yourself doing it and you're like, this is so lame. Like to be talking to this poor person who's had to deal with like the dumbest people all day, and then you're doing a whole act of like, sorry, I know I'm like one of these Brooklyn people. It's like, just fucking put your order in. You want oat milk? Say it.
just say it.
Just say it. It's back there. Just order
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah, don't be a wrap, be a sandwich, be honest with what you want.
And if anything, ordering a tomato with olive oil by saying like, I know that this is not on menu and I know that this is a special ask, but do you think that this is possible? Has a level of self-awareness. And
It does.
A way for them to be like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Instead of like, you'll do this because it's easy.
yeah.
Sure.
And it's
Yeah.
simple and you'll just
The
do it.
question is
Just do
really
it.
helpful.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
once had a
think it's
director that
possible?
would always say, just do it. Would be like, give a suggestion. I would
helpful.
kind of question and say, yeah, just do it. Just do it. And it's like the just. What is that just that simplifies things and makes somebody seem difficult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it's basic. You know what it's saying? And especially in that instance, it's like, basically, it's drawing a line and saying, well, this is easy for me. Why isn't it easy for you?
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. Nike.
I was about to say, talk
Gaslighting
about,
the American people.
do you think Nike just feminine coded as a word?
Just do
I
it.
want tiny me. No, you can't even see me. I'm so small. I'm as thin as a tortilla. But then Nike took that, made it into sports, made it into masculinity. What's that about?
It's like, it's easy. Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
Oh, only you are stopping you.
Oh, you're the problem.
I guess you're bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Nike, we blame victims.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, really progressive.
Wow,
Cool
really
brand.
progressive. Wow. Cool branding.
Inclusive.
Wow, really inclusive. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's normal now.
So I guess that's a thing.
Okay.
Huh.
Oh. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Okay.
That's kind of blasé, boys.
Methinks Nike's going on the naughty list.
Oh, Sam is bringing back methinks. You missed
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Love that. Here for it.
To do it and then to you
Methinks.
to have it be explained really hurt. And I did need that, and I did appreciate you being honest with me.
Yeah.
But ooh, baby, did that make me feel
Well, yes.
embarrassed.
Sorry.
Outed.
Not everyone has learned about the methinks movement
Well,
yet.
and this was an experiment.
Methinks.
I was sort of
Not me too.
No, methinks
Methinks.
movement. Yeah.
I was gonna see if Peter like responded positively or negatively to it.
Methinks.
Yeah.
I respond. I'm here for it.
Yeah, wow. This is huge.
Methinks. It does. Yeah, you have to. It needs to be practiced.
Yeah.
Because I think when you say it, methinks it. I immediately think like, okay, Baby Yoda. Like I am sounding like Baby Yoda. But when you said it, you've said it enough times that I can hear that you're past that phase.
Right.
Yeah.
And the placement in your voice is fully confident, and it just washed over me, and I accepted it 100%. It wasn't until George called you out that I then was like, right, you did say me thinks. People don't usually say that.
Yeah.
I was attempting to do the opposite. I was attempting to be like, he's not weird. This is a thing, you know. But in fact, I was projecting my own. I was like, well, if I heard someone say me things, I would think it's weird. But you're probably more progressive than I am.
No, it's actually the opposite. I spent all last year trying to justify Shakespearean language. So someone saying me thinks, I'm like, sure, that's real.
Right.
Oh,
Where I've had to say like
you.
anon,
Right.
alas,
Right.
trying to say make alas,
Wow.
alas, seem authentic.
Right.
Methinks rolling off Sam's tongue.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes. Methinks is very
Get you out there.
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
methinks.
Methinks she doth protest
she
too
doth
much.
protest too much. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did Shakespearean language get into your day-to-day life? And was it frustrating?
It didn't get into my day-to-day life, but I did get good at reading it and
Oh, that's
translating it quickly.
Wow.
But I don't know. I didn't say anything. I sometimes switched verbs and nouns around, which was annoying.
Now that's Yoda.
Now that's
And then it gets into Yoda,
Yeah.
which is a place, maybe there's shame in me around this Yoda thing. I don't know.
Right. Well, and then
Keeps
you had to be.
coming up. I should follow that.
You had to be like, by the way, I'm not doing Yoda. I'm doing Shakespeare.
Yeah. But Shakespeare Yoda ultimately is a Shakespeare.
Well, everything is
character.
Shakespeare.
Such a Shakespearean character.
Yeah,
Especially wild.
Especially wild, as you like it. Woman in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need I say more?
Yeah. Reese. Has Reese done Shakespeare? She did Oscar Wilde, right?
I don't think she would.
Importance of Being Earnest. Didn't she do that?
That sounds
I
like
don't
her,
know.
but I don't know if she could fully do Shakespeare. I'm sorry
At
to
this
say.
point, I think her brand is past
It's
that.
past it.
She's an
Yeah.
American woman.
She's
Blackstone
American.
down.
She is
Boots.
War
She
boots.
is the
Yeah.
she is the ultimate American woman.
And she's worked
Wow.
hard for that.
Yes, she
Yeah.
has.
She's worked tirelessly.
There was struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw Wild. That was a pivoting point.
She walked.
Was that
that's-
pre-walk the line?
No.
Peter.
It was
Okay,
post
so
Walk the
so
Line.
here's the thing. She won the Oscar for Walk the Line, but as with many women who win the Oscar, Halle Berry, it didn't result in more prestige opportunities.
Sure.
So after Walk the Line, it was flop after flop after flop. It was this movie called Vanity Fair. It was like bad rom-coms like This Means War. It was like weird sort of Oscar baity movies that then never actually panned out. And so Wilde has this meta-narrative of like Reese Witherspoon, the actress, is also walking her way back to the woman her mother raised her.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. And she
Yeah.
bought the
And
book
she
rights.
she bought the
is
book
it,
rights.
Is it her production?
Yeah.
In my mind, it's
that's
like
the-
she's like,
exactly.
listen.
It was the first thing she produced. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was the first thing, but it was the first, big success. And sure enough, she got her second Oscar nomination for it.
For acting.
For acting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So there you go.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, you got
Peter!
I haven't seen it.
You are gonna love
Haven't seen
it. Oh my goodness.
I will watch it soon.
Yeah.
And I'll report back, but haven't yet.
It's on Max.
Yeah, it's on Max.
Isn't that terrible?
What the
hate
fuck?
it.
Isn't it terrible?
It's so bad. Do you think it's
I'd love to work for you, Max, but
Of course.
also I think it's terrible what you've done.
do you think it's like sometimes I think when there's change, of course, people mock it. Like I remember the iPad coming out and people were like, this is such a stupid name. This is such a stupid name. There was once a Mad TV sketch about an iPad and blah, 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 blah. And then literally 3 months later, everyone was just like, yeah, it's on the iPad. Like iPad.
Well, Dua Lipa.
Don't even get me started.
She was presented to us and we're like, what the hell is this? Okay. And then years later, we're like, oh,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
Dua Lipa.
Yeah, we love her and we love her name.
Yeah.
And
This makes sense. She's talented.
do you
Eyes
think
crossed.
we will normalize Max as our society tends to do?
Obviously.
Well, of course you will, but I do worry about the strength of the HBO brand. It's been
But
diluted.
that's gone.
Yeah, it's been diluted too much. And in fact, I think, we're talking here mere days after the Succession finale.
Mm-hmm.
I think Succession will go down in history as the last prestige HBO drama.
Yeah. agree with
We're
that.
never going to have something like that again. Everything is just going to be on Max.
Yeah. No, when I opened the app, I was like, oh, HBO
Yeah.
is gone.
It's
And no
gone.
matter how hard they try to bring it back, I've already had that experience
Mm-hmm.
and like moment of grief.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's done.
It's the grief is constant.
Yeah. Like Trump won, America, the illusion shattered. No matter how many Adderalls Joe Biden takes, will I be like,
No.
oh, right.
We're back.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The damage, I mean, it's like, and just like that,
Right.
the damage will never be undone.
That was the whistle. That was
The canary in the coal mine.
there we go.
Yeah.
Well, should we do our final segment?
Well, I do want to sort of, I'm like, do we have anything more to say about raps?
Oh.
Or is it a rap on raps?
Or is it a rap on raps?
Oh. Well.
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 I do want, I know, just because it's like the most famous rap, I want to get chicken Caesar wrap.
From Publix is really delicious.
Yeah. There is something that will always be there.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't want to say it's the exception that proves the rule, because that's not exactly what I mean, but it's like the chicken Caesar wrap, the perfection of a chicken Caesar wrap is what has allowed all the rest of the stuff to go unmanaged for so long. You know what I mean?
I have no experience with this wrap.
What?
I've never had this wrap in my entire life.
If you're ever near a Publix,
Okay.
Yeah.
below the Mason-Dixon line, you are going to get a chicken Caesar wrap. And
Wow.
it's going to be good.
Well, I can't wait for that day. It
It's-
sounds
it's
good now that you're describing it.
Like, that is, raps are straight, but straight people do exist.
Uh-huh.
And there is validity in their experience.
Of course.
So a chicken Caesar wrap being an authentic, like, oh, there's something good about this. I think it's because it's a salad in a fake sandwich.
Well, and that's sort of,
nice.
that's a big part
That's
of
nice.
wraps. It is like
you can
that.
get the salad. In the
I mean,
sandwich.
imagine like a wrap that has like quinoa and cherry tomatoes. And it's like,
Right, falling all over the place.
it's like you are
Mess.
taking a
Messy.
salad and you're
Messy.
like, what if this was handheld?
Yeah.
You don't need your little plastic fork that's going to break as you
Yeah.
are preparing for the big board meeting.
I've done that.
We all have.
Ocean plastic, yeah.
Yeah, she's
ocean
breaking.
plastic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's like we say, sometimes the greatest feeling in the world is when a straight guy is like super nice to you for no reason. And that's maybe what the chicken Caesar wrap is.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll say yes. In the spirit of show business and moving things along, I'm going to say yes.
And it's okay if you disagree. We can end on a cliffhanger and
More on chicken Caesar wraps next time.
when Peter Smith returns for StraightioLab Part 2.
Part 2. What's the name of the Chromatica remix album? Isn't there a name, or is it just remixes?
Dawn of Chromatica. Dawn of StraightioLab.
Yeah, StraightioLab 2, Dawn of StraightioLab.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about you leaving. Because I feel like you're an infinite well of wisdom.
Oh,
It's true.
And as soon as you leave,
there's a bottom down there, I'll tell you. She's in there. She's deep, but she's down there.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? It's not goodbye. It's to be continued.
We have the dawn of Peter Smith coming.
The dawn of Peter Smith coming.
Hell yeah.
George, will you introduce our final segment?
I would be honored to do that.
Before you do, I also have one more thought. Sorry to cut
What
you
is
off.
it?
Sorry to set you up and then immediately cut you off.
That is okay.
I think it's really symbolic that we're having a discussion on raps while in Midtown at lunchtime.
On a 2-show day for you both. No,
On a 2-show day,
this is a 2-show day for you both.
while there is a literal half of a breakfast burrito on the table that I
Yeah.
had this morning.
I think this discussion is so lived in. It almost is scaring me.
Yeah.
The
Well,
embodiment.
there is
Yeah.
something about Midtown where, here's the other thing with the rap. Sorry, last thing. In some environments, it is the safest thing to get, and that's what we forget. It's like, yes, if you're at a beautiful artisanal sandwich place in Portland, Oregon, yeah, you're not going to get the chicken Caesar wrap. You're going to get something a little more sophisticated, a little more funky.
Yeah, sourdough.
A sourdough. An aioli. Sriracha.
Sure.
But if you are in a midtown pret-a-manger, the wrap it's like it's shining gold in the vitrine.
And it's visual.
It's visual.
very
Sandwiches,
visual.
you can't get that inside.
Yeah.
No.
Where we're like, oh, there's lettuce in there.
Yeah.
I'll just have that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just like that.
And just
Like that. So in Midtown, basically, the chicken Caesar wrap is the Madonna, the Lady Gaga. But everywhere else, she is sort of the Tubelu.
Which, no disrespect.
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
None at all. Okay, now I feel like we can do our final segment.
Peter, our final segment is called Shoutouts. And in this segment, we pay homage to the classic straight tradition of the radio shout out. Think TRL, think Z100. You are shouting out to your squad back home something that is making you say, "Yas, mama." So, do you want to go first, Sam?
Wow.
I can go first.
If you have one, please.
Okay. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. I'm binary. I want to give a shout out to the performer, actress, and musician Bridget Everett. You know, here's what I'll say. And people often ask me, who's the best performer you've ever seen live? And I say, in a dive bar in San Francisco in approximately 2013, 2014, Bridget Everett did a stage dive to an audience of approximately 12 people, and it changed my life forever. I think you could literally pinpoint that moment as when I decided that I would attempt to one day have a gay podcast even. She is perhaps the most talented woman alive. And if you are not watching her show on HBO, the one thing, by the way, now that I've sort of shat on Max, the one thing that is worthy of the HBO brand on that platform, I highly encourage you to go, press play, sit back, and honey, get ready for your heartstrings to be tugged like it is Sarah Bareilles playing her little guitar, because you will not be the same after you finish. Woo!
Woo! Wow, beautiful. Wow, I am struggling. Let's think. Okay. What's up, freaks, losers, and perverts? I would like to give a huge shout out to waiting for like a week to do all your grooming things and then doing them all at once.
Yes.
Like, I just kind of let myself go in every which direction. And then yesterday, I was like, now let's whip it all back into shape. I'm cutting my nails. I'm shaving my face. I'm having a deep cleansing shower. And I feel like a completely different person. Sometimes it's so helpful to go to the brink and then claw your way back to polite society. And to see, you know, what is artifice and what is real. Find out who the real you is. It is Reese Witherspoon Wild, but from your own home.
Ooh.
I love saving all the grooming for one day, and I love when I have shaved but don't like to shave.
Ooh.
XOXO, Sam.
Woo! Wow. Taking a shower can be wild.
Absolutely.
If you don't have time to take a hike, take a shower.
Take a long shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pacific Crest.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can shower your way back to the woman your mother raised you.
You can try.
You can try.
Okay, it's my turn.
Whenever
Yeah.
you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, our Heart Radio listeners. This is Peter, and I'm coming with a shout out today. Cigarettes
Ooh.
that I recently bought on Sunday. Haven't bought a pack in 6 months. Sunday, I said yes. 80% of America is shallow breathing. When I take a cigarette inhale, I take a long, deep inhale and a big cathartic exhale. And that is making me go yas, mama, to living my life. Yes, you may hear a little tickle in the back of my throat, a little irritation caused by cancerous chemicals. But you know what? That catharsis brought on by that little stick of cancer, nothing like it. So folks, go out there, get yourself a box of smokes. Puff, puff, pass.
Woo! Wow. What an endorsement.
Yeah.
You know? That was the top of my head.
I love that. I mean, Diet Coke, cigarettes, it's giving star.
Yeah. Being
Actually, regular Coke is star. Marilyn Monroe drank a Coca-Cola on set every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're anorexic, sometimes you just drink Coca-Cola.
Really?
A little tip for the skinny
okay.
girls.
Write that down, girls.
A little tip.
I didn't know. I'm learning every day.
No solids, just sugar. Yeah.
Well,
That's a great thing for me to end on.
yeah.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much for doing the podcast. It's been a true delight. And I can't wait for the dawn of Peter Smith's StraightioLab.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much for having me. The folks at home, I hope you're well. Bye.
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 Bye.